All right, we are now live. Magandang hapon sa lahat. Welcome to Work From Home Pythonistas. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Frau May Espinala, and alongside me is Angela Joe de los Santos, and we are core volunteers of Python Philippines.
Hello, everyone. We are thrilled to have you with us today. Work from Home Pythonista is about connecting with amazing Pythonistas like you and sharing insight from their diverse experiences, whether you're just a starting or a seasoned pro. There is something here to learn for everyone today.
Thanks, Angelo. As always, your goal for this series is to foster a sense of community among Pythonistas, whether you're new to Python or have been coding for years. We hope today's discussion gets you fired up, sparks new ideas, and makes you feel more connected to fellow developers from all around the globe. Yes, at home, at work, and beyond. We are here to celebrate Pythonistas and their craft.
At nandito rin ang rundown ng today's event ngayon. First, we're kicking things off with a virtual tour of Joshua's workspace. I'm always curious to see where the magic happened in his work. After that, we will dive a talk show segment filled with a Q&A from both us and you, our wonderful audience.
Before we begin, we'd like to give a big shout out to our sponsor, BillEase, for making this episode possible. Billy is a product of FDFC, is leading the charge in retail credit solutions across Southeast, Southeast Asia, making financial services more accessible for Filipinos. With a team of over 250 employees across 5 cities and 2 continents, they're changing the way people shop, buying now and paying later made easy.
At sakto, Ate Frey, mukhang balak kong bumili ng gamit ngayong buwan at mukhang gagamitin ko ang BillEase para maging payment ng aking bibilhin. Kaya thank you so much for sponsoring us, BillEase. Your support make this series possible and it is fantastic to see a company so committed to transform our financial services in the community.
Nice. All right. We will be introducing today our guest speaker, Joshua Cerdenia, a true generalist whose career spans music, cultural advocacy, and software engineering. Wow. Talk about range. Joshua started his software career in 2020 and has been crushing ever since, working with Python and JS frameworks in both industrial automation and fintech. Right now, he's at the forefront of innovation with BillEase. But wait, there's more. Outside of coding, Joshua is also a talented composer and a passionate birdwatcher. How cool is that? We're thrilled to have him with us today.
Ako rin, Ate Frey, mukhang na-excite din sa guest natin today. Joshua has a quiet, fascinating journey. I mean, software engineering, music, birdwatching, talk about a well-rounded individual. So let's welcome him, guys, and give him a round of applause, everyone.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me. Is it my turn to speak now?
Yes, sir, we can hear you right now.
Okay. In place of a live virtual tour of my because I'm not at my usual workspace setup right now. That's just how it is with work from home or digital nomading. I'm gonna give you an show you kind of an evolution of my workspace setup over the years. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and that'll be my opening presentation. Oh, what happened? Hello? Am I still here?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can see your screen right now.
Oh, you can see my screen right now. Okay. I'm gonna play it. Anything looks wrong, let me know. So I'm not sure how it looks like on the live stream. Anyway, yeah, as has been mentioned, like my main background is in music. That's what I've spent the most. That's what my educational background is in. That's what I know about the most. But I've also never been want to kind of be satisfied just doing one thing. And I ever since I was young, I was kind of always pulled in different directions. And one of them was music. One of them happened to be technology as well, coding. I don't know. Probably most of you are too young to remember the age of like palm tops, like these little personal computers in the late 90s, during the 90s up to the early 2000s. I wrote my first lines of code on this thing. It's a Scion. Just simple print statements, that sort of thing. And that was kind of like my introduction to the world of programming. But I didn't really do anything with it. That was kind of just a fun thing I did. I ended up studying music, kind of, went in a whole different direction. I studied music composition. But during my studies in music, we're in the 21st century, so technology is an important part of everything. Part of my studies was actually programming, but with musical results. So this is an example of something I did in school. Well, I pulled this off the internet, but give you an idea of it. This is a program called Maximus V, which is a programming environment. But instead of code, you kind of work with objects visually, connecting them, creating your own objects until eventually you can build all sorts of cool things with it, like synthesizers, audio processors, that sort of thing. But there's also this thing called C sound, which is more actual coding. Again, synthesis, but the interface is code. But didn't really do much of, to be honest, it wasn't, the tools were interesting, but the music I was able to do with it, it was not really that interesting to me. So again, I kind of like left that alone for a few years until at this time I was studying in the States, and then I kind of like left it alone. A few years again passed. I found myself back here in the Philippines, and still had kind of an interest in programming and seeing what I could do with it. But as this was 2020, I kind of just started got my first real taste of enterprise, I guess, modern software development, I guess, and just started, learning Kotlin, learning Android, and started shipping my own apps to the Play Store. So this is one example of it. I built an RSS reader, which was cool because it turned out there was kind of a demand for it. So I actually got real users and people were interested in it. Unfortunately, I had no time to maintain it because at the same time I was also looking for a job in software engineering, so I didn't really have any time for it. But yeah, that's one of the things I did. Got that uploaded in some Android like open source repos on the internet. There's a long story from there to how I eventually started working full time in software engineering. Until 2 years ago, I landed in BillEase, where I currently am, as a software engineer. But at the same time, again, I've never been one to be just satisfied doing one thing. So I still keep my music stuff ongoing. This was me with the Florida Orchestra. You can't see it very well, but that's me on stage with a conductor. And I flew over there last year. I think it was last year. Yeah. To watch a concert like they performed something I wrote. So I just flew over there. At the same time, I was working for BillEase also, so this was on a weekend, and during weekdays I would keep my Philippine schedule like during the night while I was in the States for a few weeks. And yeah, that's it for the Pythonista part. That's it for the story of how I got into programming and my journey to BillEase currently. But here's for the work from home part. Like I'm kind of an outlier, I guess, because I've made it this far in life only working from home. Like I've never had an I've never had an office job. So you'd think that would, you'd think that would actually like push me to really develop like a really cool work from home setup. But actually, just because I like doing so many things, it's pushed me more towards being more adaptable and flexible. So I actually like to keep my setup very simple, very bare bones. This is from 2016. I was working on some music. At this time, I was in, I think that, yeah, this was in New York during a blizzard. That was my work from home setup. 2017, I was on vacation here in my home in the Philippines in Taytay, Rizal. So again, this is an example of my work setup. Hindi mo pakali sa desk, so I have to like I wanted to like keep moving around, working outdoors, working on the balcony, that sort of thing. 2018, again, I was back in the States, a blizzard. I can't really see my desk from here. I didn't have a better picture, but it's very bare bones, just my computer, a small fan, a small lamp. That's pretty much it. Eventually, I could kind of develop more developed, setup. So here I have a couple of keyboards that help me do my music work. But again, computer, still the same pretty much, apart from the two keyboards. This was after I moved back to the Philippines long term. And I started my own like work from home setup in the attic of this house. And it looks artsy because my sister was using this room before as an art studio. So when I took this, I was still kind of putting it together, and didn't get rid of all the art stuff. But as you can see, keyboard and a big part of it, computer, monitor, but and a lamp. That's pretty much it. That's what it looks like from another angle. So this is kind of a sweet setup for me. That's it also from another angle. As you can see, big windows, very nice. And also in those windows, I have a telescope set up for bird watching, which we'll get to later. But that's kind of a nice way to de-stress, when I'm like when I need to like decompress or something. I just go to my telescope and watch birds. Yeah, like that. Yeah, we'll get to that later. But yeah, I also, part of my thing also is like I kind of have to, I like traveling quite a bit. I mean, not that much, but I kind of like to keep working while I'm traveling. So this was my digital nomad setup, I guess, while I was staying over in New York last year. Again, pretty bare bones. I got myself a portable monitor just to just to make it nicer. This was me working at my girlfriend's in the States. I'm working at her kitchen during the night because it's a small apartment in New York. Um, it's pretty simple. My computer, monitor, lamp, pretty essential, but that's it. Pretty bare bones. This is again here back home. When after I fixed it up a bit. Cat essential for any work from home setup. Um, but currently, I kind of I got out of this room because it's in the attic and it's so hot. So recently, actually, just recently, I got out of it and moved downstairs to a smaller room. So this is currently what my work from home setup looks like. This is where I work every day at the moment. So again, also pretty bare bones, just my computer. I've been thinking about setting up a monitor, but haven't gotten around to it yet. Pretty smallish desk, just enough space for, my lamps and books. And this BillEase mat over here, which is which is always nice to use. That's it from another angle. That's my keyboard over there. I haven't even plugged it in yet because I don't really have any use for it at the moment. But again, pretty bare bones, very simple. But I like the flexibility that that allows me. Of course, I have a real piano also. I don't really use the digital one. I have a real one to practice on. Which brings us to a typical day in the life. Uh, my typical work day is like one thing is that I really like to start my days early. So I get up really early in the morning. So usually by 6, I'm out and about. I like to take a walk. One thing that working in tech really pushed me towards was spending more time outside because you're spending all day in front of a screen. So to balance it, I kind of have to be outdoors a lot. So usually like around 6 a.m. I'm out either taking a walk or going bird watching or whatever. Something I started doing in the last few months was going to the gym. I have a gym here that's a 5-minute walk. So first thing in the morning, I'll go if I'm not bird watching or whatever. So like 3 times a week, I'll go to the gym first thing in the morning. And that's always a nice way to start the day, get my energy levels up. But other than that, if I'm not at the gym, I'm either walking or bird watching. This also is like a 5-minute walk from the house. This is like a nice little patch of wetland here. That's actually like a hidden gem for migratory birds. So right now is September. It's migration season, so a lot of birds come here to either spend the winter or stop by before they travel elsewhere. So this is kind of like a hidden gem. And I've actually had some of my bird watcher friends come here a few times just to check the place out and check it for birds. So this is a example of the stuff you can find here. These are shorebirds that have migrated from I don't know, like Russia or China or something, way up north. Yeah, it's all migratory. So it's kind of pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing to be like within easy access of wildlife. But yeah, like what does that have to do with Python or whatever? Well, if I can't get you interested in birding, we're all Python people here. I think we're all interested in data. So one thing I really like about bird watching is it's not just watching birds. You also keep track of what you're seeing. So this is an app, a site called eBird, which is where people all over the world log their observations of birds. So I really like it because it gives a whole citizen science angle to a bird watching, where you're not just enjoying yourself, but you're also contributing to data globally that's used by scientists and conservationists for studying birds and preserving bird habitats, studying migration patterns, and conservation generally. So that's a really cool aspect of birding that I enjoy. Just being part of that whole, just contributing to knowledge of birds globally. Yeah, so that's my typical day. Again, because it's migration season, I do a lot of birding. I go out a lot. I have to be outdoors a lot, like at least I go on walks like at least twice a day, and it helps me with my work also to just to refresh myself. Yeah, weekends it's kind of the same, except obviously I'm not working, so I spend a lot of time these days bird watching on weekends. Just this morning I was in Tanza Navotas. This was one of the last remaining stretches of mud flats in Manila Bay on the side of Metro Manila. Went all the way there. Pinapagtiyagaan yung all the little streets that you have to drive through, and then pagdating doon puro basura. But just to see all these birds. Uh, that's what it looks like up close. So a lot of migratory birds that have stopped by um, for the winter. Just teeming with birds. There's some examples of stuff you can see. That's me with my birding group. Yeah, unfortunately, puro basura talaga. But we do it for the love of it. Anyway, so sometimes I do other things on weekends, but these days that's pretty much that's kind of what I do. And what I love about the whole work from home thing is you actually have time to do these things. You have it gives you a lot of flexibility. You know, um, yeah, that's it. That's it for the slides that I've prepared. So I guess we move on to a Q&A.
Thank you so much for sharing those incredible insights, Joshua. Siguradong maraming natutunan ng ating audience about your work from home setup as well. Now let's shift gears and move on to the Q&A portion. We've got some exciting questions lined up at tatanggapin din namin yung mga live questions mula sa inyo, so keep them coming.
Kaya don't shy to ask some question from our speaker, everyone. So, since wala pa pong mga question, I would ask the first question, Sir Joshua. So, the first question would be, how do you balance your passion for music, birdwatching, and software engineering, sir?
I don't. It's really hard. I mean, I balance it like I take like a longer view. I don't do all of it at the same time. So I kind of go through seasons. There's some times of the year that I do more music. Sometimes of the year, or it can take years, like years that I do music more and years that I kind of don't. Right now, I'm not doing so much music currently, but I think that'll change. Maybe next year. So yeah, I kind of just go through seasons, because otherwise it's really yeah, it's hard to balance everything, especially with work also, maintaining a full-time work schedule. So
O nga, minsan nga
the work from home helps a lot because I'm not spending any time going to going to an office, so it really helps a lot.
Okay, oo nga, minsan ang hirap pagsabayin yung work, yung full-time work, tsaka yung hobby, di ba? So, yun. Another question, Sir Joshua. What's one work from home hack that has been a game changer for productivity?
For me, it's thinking, just kind of like shifting your perspective on work from home, because if you keep comparing it to office work, di ba ang built-in sa office work parang may built-in na boundaries, gano'n. You clock in, you clock out, alis ka, and then di mo na iisipin. I struggled for a long time with trying to keep that, trying to maintain yung ganong boundaries to work from home. But over time, I kind of shifted my perspective on it. Now you're kind of fighting against the whole nature of work from home. So I guess my hack, if you can call it a hack, is to uh kind of like turn it around. So like work, actually, if you're working from home, the flip side of it is actually like work becomes really more a part of you. It's harder to escape from. So I kind of just not worry about it so much. I don't worry so much about maintaining like strict, schedule, although it's fairly consistent. Like I do my personal stuff in the morning, and then I'll usually get to work by 10 a.m. and then I end at like 7 or something like that. But for me, and as much as I want sometimes to keep it really strict, sometimes it's just like life happens, like in the middle of the day I have to run errands or something. So my I guess my hack again is shifting a perspective. Like I don't have to fight that. That I can just, like if I have to work at night, that's okay. Because the trade-off is really like I have more control over my own schedule than otherwise if I were working like a straight office job. So that's kind of like my what I wish to impart. Just be open to like your work being more a part of you and more like an integrated part of your day instead of just this thing that you block off, you know. But of course, like like maintain that in a healthy way where it doesn't completely take over your. The whole point is for you to have time for your other interests and not for it to like completely swamp you.
Okay,
That
so
makes sense.
There's also a question here on my end that what advice would you give to someone looking to explore multiple fields like you have, sir?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Sure. So, what advice would you give to someone looking to explore multiple fields like you have, sir?
Oh, looking to explore? Just really follow. Just really ask yourself and be really honest with yourself about what you're interested in. And I think the most important thing is to, when especially with things like shifting careers or stuff like that. Think I think you can suffer a lot of self-doubt, or doubts that you can do this, and or whether it's adding something to your skill set, or whatever is feasible or not. And what I would really say is, when you find yourself like doubting yourself, is to really question these doubts, and see if they are limits that like you yourself are placing on yourself. Because most of the time you'll find that the limitations that you think are limitations are actually coming from yourself. So in short, yeah, just don't be afraid to do things. You don't need permission. You don't need examples. If something is really calling out to you, just give it a try and see where it takes you.
Yun. Tama nga naman since parang wag kang matakot na try since lahat naman yung challenges naman sa buhay.
Yep.
So
Yep.
there's also a question here, Sir Josh, na from our YouTube, that your opinion on continuing tech layoffs, who is most at risk, newbie or experienced programmers?
Don't know if I'm exactly qualified to answer that. I mean, obviously, experienced programmers are more, that's what companies look for. Companies look for experience, right? So newbies are always going to be more at risk. So yeah, unfortunately, especially in the last few years, right? I think when I got into tech full time, that was kind of like the last wave of where you can kind of just learn to code for a few months and then you can get a job. That was kind of like, I was like at the very tail end of it, and now it feels very different. So yeah, I mean, like, newbies are always going to be more at risk, right, as opposed to experienced programmers. But I would say like that's an opportunity to be like really flexible and adaptable, because the industry is always going to change. Work conditions are always going to change. Jobs are gonna decline. They're gonna go out of fashion. And new jobs will replace them. So the most important thing is really to uh find your own way of being adaptable to these changes.
All right, that's good to hear, sir.
Yep.
We have another questions from our YouTube live, by the way. Your opinion, sorry, this is, as an aspiring software engineer, what are your thoughts going to fintech company? Is there any difference? What are things you need to prepare if you want to go for fintech company?
Oh, fintech company. First is to be familiar with the industry, in general, see what the trends are, what's going on in general. I think that's the primary thing if you're just starting to get into it, because you want to know if the industry is like interesting to you, right? Second thing is really like just attention to detail. Like this is I mean, this is kind of true for everything, but especially when in fintech, because you're handling money, and you're handling the money of a lot of people's money, so it requires like sensitivity to it, at a higher level than usual, I would say. So yeah, again, like be familiar with the industry. What's who are the players, who are the companies, and see if it's something interesting to you.
Also here on the YouTube, sir, there's a question that what do you love most about being a software engineer?
Oh, I love it because it changes a lot, you know. Like at my work at BillEase, I work on a very big code base. So one week I'll be kind of focusing on one thing, the next week I'll be focusing on another. So it never really gets boring, you know. Um, Also for me, I don't know, I'm kind of just wired like this. I just love I love typing things. I don't know. It looks, you know, like when it looks good, when code looks good, when it looks clean, when it works, it's very satisfying. So it gives me that kind of, you know, satisfaction. Looking at like nice code. like so that's another thing. But yeah, for me it's just never boring. It's always challenging. That can be also what I what I dislike the most about it, but mostly it's a positive.
So you also like to explore new things around your company, sir? Like that?
Like what? Sorry.
You like also to explore new things around your field?
Oh yeah. Because again, I work on like a very big code base, and like I haven't even touched. I've been with BillEase for 2 years. I haven't even touched everything. So every week there's kind of something new that I discover or find out or learn. So that makes it really never boring. It's always interesting.
So also here on the YouTube question is, what do you love most about working on the fintech companies, sir?
Oh, again, like to me the money part's really interesting. Just just seeing how it all flows from like a technical standpoint. That's really interesting to me, like you know how that's handled, like the architecture of it, because it's very like it's very complex, and I don't pretend to fully understand all of it, but I think it's one of the most like compared to, like, again, I can only compare from experience, but previously, before I was at BillEase, I was with a small startup doing automated inspection of solar cells in a like manufacturing of solar cells. So it was completely different. It was also complex, but not in the way that fintech is complex, because it's so critical, because you're handling money. So it's very, very sensitive. So for me, that kind of is what excites me about fintech. It's also cutting edge, because we're kind of like fintech is kind of shaping the future landscape of how people use money, um, payment options, that sort of thing. So that makes it really exciting.
Thank you for that, Joshua. We have another question from Rolando Estrada from YouTube. Being an avid bird watcher is really interesting. Just for his curiosity, what is your most favorite bird?
My most favorite bird is the great egret.
Oh,
Great.
What that is? It's like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
big
I
white heron. Yeah,
yeah, a big white heron
yeah,
as
yeah.
well. Yeah, and another follow-up question regarding that one. And how did you get into bird watching?
It was kind of like I was always interested in birds and animals and wildlife in general. That was kind of always just in the background in my head. But I got interested when I get interested, like over a year ago. Well, there were kind of like different points that triggered it. One was visiting the Museum of Natural History in Manila a couple of years ago. And then there was this whole section about what naturalists do, like and like the first naturalists in the Philippines, like there's like an exhibit of like the equipment that they had, and that kind of inspired me, like, "Ay, baka pwede ako magganito sa lugar ko." Just start exploring my area. And another thing also that contributed to that was like I was kind of just like really bored. So I was at a point in my life I was just kind of like really bored, like living here, because like nothing was interesting going on. I was like, considering like moving out somewhere else, in the city, and then and then I discovered like maybe I could start birding or something and get interested in wildlife. So it really gives you a different perspective of your surroundings, because there are all these like animals, birds, trees, insects, whatever around, but usually we never really notice them. And when you really start looking, you kind of like just notice like a whole different like layer of life around you. So yeah, that's what got me into it.
Okay. So there's also a question here from the Zoom, Sir Joshua, that as a fresh graduate, does working with Python as your profession still provides you a stable income despite of the competition outside with other applicants or a crowded job market in the IT industry?
Profession to stable income. Well, yeah, it's definitely stable. Well, first of all, I'm not a fresh graduate anymore, so I probably can't speak to it as someone who's actually a fresh graduate is. But yeah, I mean that's what drew me to programming in general, because it's so stable. Like, I kind of just came to a point in my life where I realized that I stability is like very important to me. Um, so yes, it does provide me with that kind of stability despite the competition. Like there's always going to be competition. It's always, especially if you're moving jobs or whatever, it's always going to be challenging in some way. So but that shouldn't like scare anyone. That's just part of the whole thing.
Thank you for that one. And then we have another question from our YouTube live from Jewelson Kagake. Do you see an opportunity where you can use coding in enhancing the art of music?
Hahaha, yes, but I think other people can do it better. For me, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I've definitely thought of it, like finding ways to combine it, like using coding to create new music. But I I've just never been really able to like crack it. Yes, I guess. So for me, I really keep the two separate for now. And I think there's so many other people who can do it better.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Sir Josh. And this is the last question for our Q&A segment. So, how do you feel a sense of no, no, no. The question will be, do you feel a sense of fulfillment when you're doing no, 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 sorry, sorry. In what areas of your career do you feel a sense of fulfillment, sir?
Oh, can you repeat it? In what areas of
Yeah.
my
So, in what areas of your career do you feel a sense of fulfillment?
Oh, I feel a great sense of fulfillment in having my like and not being tied to one thing. Like obviously software engineering is my main thing, and I plan for it to be my main thing for a long time. But it really does give me a sense of fulfillment where I use the stability that provides to have the freedom to explore my other interests. So that's what really gives me fulfillment, as opposed to like letting this one thing like completely take over my life, right? Um, because this is all the life. We only get one shot at this. It's our it's our only life, and you really have to to make the effort to spend your time as much as you can doing the things that you're really interested in and that really speak to you. So I find great fulfillment in being able to do that, because software engineering is so stable. Um, it gives me that platform of stability, and also again, like the work from home setup just helps so much. So for me, I'll never stop singing the praises of work from home or remote work, because it really does give me that kind of freedom and fulfillment.
All right.
Thank you for that, Joshua. So, wow, we're already nearing the end of today's session. Time really flies with the conversation is this engaging. But before we wrap things up, Joshua, do you have any last announcements or shout out for our amazing audience?
Not any particular announcements. Just if you're interested in anything I presented today, if you're interested in music or whatever, getting into career shifting, birding especially, and if you're interested, feel free to reach out. You can reach me at you're gonna put my email here or something. Oh, you can reach me at
LinkedIn.
yeah. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm easy to find. Feel free. Anything.
Maybe sometime we will go explore hiking and bird watching.
Yes. Should.
So before we go, we'd love to hear your feedback, everyone. It helps us improve and bring the content you want. And hey, let's not forget to take about the photo opportunity. Turn on those cameras, folk, and put your best smile at the photo op, guys. So open your cam, guys. Open, guys.
So, let's open our camera. I'll be taking the photo op. So, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. Again. Okay, 1 second. 1, 2, 3, smile. Nice. So, if yung hanap kayo ng nasa table niyo or anything, so wacky version yourself. Yung any object on your table or near you. So I have this alcohol. Alcohol. Okay. 1, 2, 3, smile. Yun. So, yeah, and that's a wrap for today's episode. A huge thank you to Joshua Cerdenia for joining us, and of course to everyone in the audience for spending time with us. We hope today's discussion left you inspired and excited to continue your journey in Python.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to talk with Joshua. It's been a pleasure hearing your insights, and I'm sure everyone learned a lot from your journey. To our audience, we hope you enjoyed this final episode of Work From Home Pythonista, but don't worry. We will be back next year with the most anticipated event, the Python Philippines. Until then, thank you all for joining us today. Have a great weekend, everyone, and keep coding. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.